What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Tuesday night Q&A Hangout. That is officially, for the Chiefs, an offseason live stream. The first one of the 2026 offseason, as the Chiefs are now gearing up for the 2026 NFL season, even though Wild Card Weekend is this weekend, which we could talk about some of those games. I am intrigued about some of those matchups. I'll probably pull up a graphic and process through some of those games because we're still going to stream those games. We're still going to hang out and watch playoff football. I will stream the divisional round games as well, some of them, the conference championship games, and the Super Bowl, because why not? I've done that every year on this channel anyway. But yeah, it is the offseason for the Kansas City Chiefs. I titled or put on the thumbnail something like it's a long road ahead, because there is just a lot of hopeful potential changes that should be made, that us as fans, we're just over there looking and saying, please do the right thing and make the hard decisions. And then there are changes that we won't see coming. I just hope that they do more than we think. Not because they need to hit reset on everything or something like that, but I hope Andy Reid makes some changes, man, because here's why I'm saying that. Think about Zach Taylor with the Bengals. He is coming off of a not great season and announced that there would be no coaching changes. I was very shocked and a little bit surprised that there was going to be no coaching changes. Oh, man. Andy Reid was asked about that on Monday, and he basically said, I don't know yet. We are talking with players, and then I'll talk with coaches, but we've got time for that. There's no need to rush or make any rash decision. I do think, to some extent, if they were going to make a major change, that would have already been done. Now, a major change, quote unquote, for the Chiefs can still be coordinators. You've got Matt Nagy and Steve Spagnuolo. They're scheduled to interview for the Titans head coaching job. I wouldn't be surprised if they interviewed for more. Mike Borgonzi is the former assistant GM of the Kansas City Chiefs, and he's the current GM of the Titans over there. So there are some opportunities. Nate Taylor of ESPN, he said today that the belief is Matt Nagy won't be back. His contract is expired. He didn't want to renew it last year, so he's a free agent. I hope that's the case, honestly. Like, I don't want to sound like I hate the guy, because I don't. If I saw Matt Nagy in the street, I'd be like, hey, man, what's up? Appreciate what you did and all that, but I wouldn't go out of my way to compliment him, because it's time to move on. Thank you, and I wish you well in your next chapter. So hopefully they do the right thing and bring in an offensive coordinator, maybe a wide receiver coach, running backs coach. Now, big news today for Chiefs fans was Cliff Kingsbury. I almost said Clint Kubiak. I was like, no, that's not who it is. Cliff Kingsbury surprisingly parting ways with the Washington Commanders. He was their offensive coordinator, and obviously he helped lead them to an NFC championship Jaden Daniels' rookie year, so 2 seasons ago. And they had a really down year this year. Jaden Daniels only played, 8 games? He didn't play much because he was injured. A couple different injuries, then dislocated his elbow. It was bad. Pretty ugly stuff. But he surprisingly moved on, and their defensive coordinator moved on. But a lot of Chiefs fans are saying, hey, Cliff Kingsbury, that's Mahomes' former head coach in college. Let's get that guy in here. And my initial thought to that was, man, I don't know. They ran more shotgun or less under center than the Chiefs did. The Commanders did. The last 2 years, the Commanders were dead last in plays ran from under center. Meanwhile, if you just look at the trend of the league, trend of the NFL, and teams that are in the playoffs, I think it's 10 of 14 teams that are in the playoffs. They are all in the top half. Their offenses are all in the top half of plays ran from under center. 10 of 14 playoff teams. The top offenses, first in points per game, second, third, fifth, tied for 8th. Most of them in the top 10 points per game. They run the most from under center, like plays, just plays in general, not runs, just play calls from under center. I'm not some delusional guy. I understand the Chiefs are not going to do that. They're not going to be Sean McVay and the Rams. They are not going to, in one offseason, go from the third least plays ran from under center to top 5. It's not happening. So I do get it. I'm not expecting Andy to revamp everything at the age of whatever, he's in his upper 60s. It's not going to happen. But my hope with offensive coordinator is you bring in somebody that comes from a McVay or Shanahan tree. I really like Nate Scheelhaus, the pass game coordinator of the Rams. He's been in the league, coaching in the league rather, for 2 years, 34 years old, and he's been under McVay. Bring somebody like that in. He's young. This would be a great stepping stone for him, because you have to know any offensive coordinator coming in here, they're not running the show. They're not running the show. Andy Reid's going to run the show. So that's kind of what I would like. But with that being said, I would almost accept any change, because any change is good change. So if Cliff Kingsbury is the guy, which according to reports and where you look, now that John Harbaugh has been let go from the Ravens after 18 years, and he just signed an extension in March, a 3-year extension tying him to the Ravens through the 2028 NFL season. Had an all-day meeting with the owner today. I'm sure the GM was there too. And John Harbaugh's gone. Well, here's a report from Diana Russini of The Athletic. Amid recent league-wide buzz about Cliff Kingsbury's future, many believe Baltimore paired with Lamar Jackson would be an ideal landing spot for the now former Commanders offensive coordinator. That will be a name to watch. And that's intriguing, because you look at what Cliff Kingsbury was able to do with Jaden Daniels, and Lamar Jackson is a dual threat QB like Jaden Daniels. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not opposed to Cliff Kingsbury coming to Kansas City by any means. Even though they run less plays under center than the Kansas City Chiefs, they still had a more efficient and effective run game than the Chiefs, talking about the Commanders under Cliff Kingsbury. And Cliff ran the offense over there because Dan Quinn is a defensive-minded head coach. My question is, if Cliff Kingsbury doesn't get jobs that he wants, is he willing to come to Kansas City and not call the plays? Because I don't think Andy Reid's giving up the play calling. So that's going to be a question to keep eyes on. There's obviously also Eric Bieniemy. That name's been thrown out there as somebody that you bring back. He has been away from the team for a few years. Recently was under Ben Johnson, right now with the Chicago Bears as the running backs coach, and they're in the playoffs. There's Mike Kafka, the interim head coach, OC of the Giants. There's Doug Peterson, formerly with the Jags. There's some options. If you had to say, hey, Cole, if you only had those four, Peterson, Kafka, Eric Bieniemy, or Cliff Kingsbury, even though I said initially today, like, I don't love the idea of Cliff Kingsbury, I think if I had just had to choose between those four, I'm probably picking that, because it's at least something different, something we haven't seen before. Mahomes, yes, has the rapport, has trust with Cliff Kingsbury, and it would at least be a step in a slightly different direction. I don't know how likely it is, because I really do think Cliff Kingsbury is probably gunning for a head coaching position, and Andy Reid's not going anywhere. So we'll see. But if I could really have my pick, it's going to be Nate Scheelhaus, the pass game coordinator of the LA Rams. That's the big news of the day. I could not believe Harbaugh was gone. Like, on one hand, yes, I could. But on the other hand, man, they just made it to the AFC Championship 2 years ago. They were a Mark Andrews essentially drop away in the Bills game last year from making it back to the AFC Championship again, back-to-back years. They didn't make it this year. They didn't make it to the playoffs this year. I get it. That was a crazy game against the Steelers. But that was a pretty surprising one. And change happens fast. Harbaugh he didn't even get to inform his staff that he was moving on. It's a cutthroat business, man. You've got Chiefs players posting goodbyes. We don't know if they're returning. Hollywood Brown posted something. Jawan Taylor posted something. Who else? Jalen Watson posted something. We'll see. Spags, I'm more concerned probably if Spags goes. What are you going to do over there? Some people would be happy. And maybe you just do like an internal hire, promotion rather. Dave Merritt, defensive backs coach, maybe Joe Cullen. I think you could interview some other guys, and it wouldn't be like a bad thing by any stretch of the imagination if he moved on. But we will see what ends up happening here. I just got an interesting message about Cliff Kingsbury. So, could it happen? Maybe. I am down for change. Andy Reid's not going anywhere. He's not retiring. I am down for some change. Whatever they want to do at OC, I just hope they don't keep Matt Nagy because he doesn't get a head coaching job. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing I don't want to happen. Do not want, no thank you. I would be very disappointed. And I'm sure you guys would too. So, yeah, in the end, we'll see what happens probably in the next really couple of weeks here if some moves are made. But that's kind of where I'm at. And those are the big picture thoughts with the Chiefs right now, even though they haven't really done much. But it's a long offseason. You've got to address not just who the OC is. You've got to look at the position groups, the pending free agents. Are you retaining anybody, bringing them back? Are you letting some guys go that are under contract? I did a video recently talking about how the Chiefs can get out of their cap hell for next year. You could restructure several players' contracts for sure, but you can move on from like Mike Dana. You can move on from Drew Tranquill. Jawan Taylor's a big one. There was another guy. I can't remember the fourth one off the top of my head, but there are several players you can move on from and save money. Oh, Christian Fulton was the other one, but I think Christian Fulton has done enough to stay. We didn't really talk about the Raiders game, but we can. It was still just a weird game. They finally gave Brashard Smith some reps, and I like that. He's not going to be your running back one. We all know that, but he could probably progress a little bit. And then just like flipping back to the OC thing, I do think some of the Chiefs' problems will just get fixed on offense if they can just get a real playmaker at the running back position. Somebody that can run effectively at a high level between the tackles, decent vision, burst, speed, the ability to make somebody miss, and rack up some explosives. Then also catch some passes out of the backfield. One thing you have to just think about and realize too, which we all know, is, and I see some super chats rolling in. I'm gonna hit that up just a second. Appreciate you guys. Mahomes is coming off the ACL and the LCL, so they have to adapt. And I hope they don't plan on Mahomes running around like Superman. That's why you got to upgrade the running back room. You've got to adapt the scheme a little bit. Andy Reid's not going to adapt it a ton, but give me 10 to 15% more under center, more play action, rollouts, bootlegs. Just, I understand some of that's involving Mahomes running around a little bit, but just take the pressure off of Mahomes. Andy Reid confirmed to the media on Monday, yeah, when we call RPOs and play action, the defenses weren't biting like we wanted them to. Well, why do you think that is? Who are you afraid of in the running back room back there? Nobody. You're not afraid of nobody. Kareem Hunt on 4th and 1, 3rd and 2. Yes, but nobody else. You didn't know what you had in Elijah Mitchell. They wouldn't play him. Brashard Smith showed some promise in the Raiders game, but he made some mistakes. But he looked like a guy who'd never played football at the NFL level really before, because he hadn't. Not at a workload as a running back, if that makes sense. Like the Raiders game when the Chiefs were up 31-0, they gave him some handoffs. But other than that, there's no threat. No, bottom 3 in explosive runs, bottom 3 and missed tackles forced on early downs. So yeah, they weren't biting on play action because they didn't fear the running back room. Then when you're in shotgun and you run an RPO, you are passing 85% of the time. When you are under center, which you are under center 3rd least in the NFL, you are handing off the ball 80%, 85% of the time. It is the most predictable thing. You saw in the Chargers game. I think it was a Chargers game when Mahomes got hurt. That was a Chargers game, right? Yes. They all kind of blend together right now. But you saw Rice get lit up a couple times, and that was because they knew what was happening. They knew from watching film exactly what the Chiefs were going to be doing because they were stale and predictable, man. So, yeah, it's a disappointing season. I'm very grateful for the run that the Chiefs have been on, but they got to make some changes and they got to adapt. Hannah with the 5. So, Damper, for those who are excited, Kingsbury, he asked to be let go. he wants back at head coach. Apparently Ravens and Tom Brady pursuing him for Raiders. Yeah, I think Cliff Kingsbury will be a sought-after guy as a head coach, unless there's just something going on behind the scenes. And maybe I just missed a report. I didn't research it super in depth, but I was a little surprised Cliff Kingsbury parted ways, because you can, it's just, he wasn't there that long, and they just made it to the NFC Championship the year before last, and Dan Quinn is a defensive-minded coach. You were in control of the offense. So yeah, he wants a head coaching gig, but maybe some things ended up sour to where he was like, well, even if I don't get a head coaching gig, I'm not going back there. So if he doesn't get a head coaching gig, maybe he can come to the Kansas City Chiefs. Maybe that is a legitimate option. We'll have to see there. But Hannah, thanks so much for the 5. Arrowhead Corner in the house. What up, man? With the 2. Hit you with another scoop in the DMs. Yeah, for sure. It makes sense what you said. So we'll see what ends up happening there. And I'm very intrigued to see. I also see the comments, and I get it. People are saying, hey, who cares who's an offensive coordinator? Andy Reid runs the ship. Nothing's going to change. I think Andy Reid has just been a successful coach for so long because he's been willing to adapt. He's not going to change everything, but he is going to refresh and adapt a little bit. So I have to believe that he's got to be willing to change, because you want to keep winning. Don't you want to win? In order to win and get back into the playoffs and make another run at another Super Bowl before you retire or whatever, you've got to change. It's really obvious. He's smarter than any of us when it comes to X's and O's, when it comes to football. He knows. I just hope that it happens. I hope that he's willing to change enough, and then you upgrade the personnel enough, including some of your position coaches, to just be a lot more effective. And that's not even talking about the defensive side of the ball, because we know that you've got to upgrade the D-line. Leo Chanel is a free agent. What do you do about Drew Tranquill's contract? And I saw a lot of people when I mentioned that, why would they get rid of Drew Tranquill? I'm not saying that they will, but if you've got Jeffrey Bossa, a converted safety, waiting in the wings on a rookie deal, and you could move on from Tranquill to save $6 million, it's just an option. I think Tranquill was fine this year, and you can keep him around on the last year of his deal, certainly. There's still the cornerback room to talk about. There's the safety room. Brian Cook's a free agent. I don't know if you're going to go into the season without extending or exploring the option of re-signing, Brian Cook, because I don't know if Jaden Hicks is just going to take that step up that we were hoping for. Maybe. Jamari Connor is fine as a safety, guys. He can't be a slot corner. Jalen Watson is a free agent. There's a lot to look at and go on, and we'll break it all down. We have time. The Chiefs are normally still in the football season, in the playoffs until mid-February. We got a head start. We got time. FLDB in the house with the 20 bomb next season. Head coach Andy Reid, offensive coordinator Sean McVay, Bill Belichick's the DC, O-line coach is Mitchell Schwartz, tight end coach Stefanski, running back coach Bieniemy, Jerry Rice is the wide receiver coach, QB coach is Tom Brady. Yeah, dude, I wish. Let's go. Never happening in a million years, but let's go. You build a dream team of coaches. Shoot, a couple of those guys should just come out of retirement. Let's go. Let's bring Jerry Rice out of retirement, and Tom Brady is QB2. He just said on a podcast recently that he could give him 30 days and he could go out there and sling it and still play quarterback at a higher level than some of the guys that are starters today in the NFL. And you know what? Typically when a player that retires is in their mid-40s, when they say that, I'm like, yeah, right. But when he said that, I was like, yeah, I actually believe you, because some of the quarterback play is not great. It's just really bad. Look at the Raiders. Even with Geno Smith, they were bad. And he would be a great QB2. It's not happening, okay? I'm not suggesting that it's even realistic, but just rolling with that comment there. The Chiefs do need to address QB2 in the offseason. I think at a little bit more, you need to take a little bit more of a higher swing. And we've talked about this before, but we don't know when Mahomes is going to be ready. He might be ready week 1. Ready to go, no problems, right? But it's impossible to know in March and early April when free agency frenzy hits and the free agents are available. Unless you just want to risk it and then sign a quarterback later to another vet min deal, or maybe run it back with Minshew. You're like, hey, Minshew's been in the system for a year. He's going to be healthy by OTAs. We'll run it back with him. But I don't know. I think you need a higher upgrade. No offense, but I think you need a higher upgrade than that. in case Mahomes isn't ready for 4 to 6 weeks. Some said, well, draft a quarterback instead. That's what the Chiefs need to do. Well, they're not spending like premier draft capital on a quarterback, so it's going to be a later round quarterback. We are going to expect a rookie late round quarterback to potentially play 4 to 6 games in Andy Reid's offense and help them win? No way. So you also don't have a lot of draft picks anyway, not enough to justify, in my opinion, taking a quarterback. So, yeah, crazy times, man. Marcus with the 5. Thanks for doing the bang-up job you do, homie. Got an idea for December member stream and Zoom? Yeah, I do. Tomorrow. I know we're late, man. Tomorrow, though. Tomorrow, we're doing the members-only stream and the members-only Zoom call just back-to-back tomorrow night. That's for December. Again, I know I'm delayed. Christmas and New Year's like kind of just really threw everything for a loop here because I normally do them on Thursdays. And I'm pretty sure Christmas and New Year's was on a Thursday. Yeah, and then the Chiefs played on Christmas anyway. So, yes, tomorrow, all the member streams for January, and then in a few weeks, like the last week of January, probably the 29th, which is a Thursday, 3 weeks and a day from now, we'll do the January member stream and Zoom call. We will be all caught up. So I do apologize for being delayed, but I appreciate your patience. I'm just talking to everybody in general who's a member and would be in there. And for the member streams, we give away signed merch from a former or current Chiefs player as well as a NFL shop jersey. Casey with the 10 bomb. Thank you, man. I like the Rams wide receiver coach idea and Titans guy. Big names won't happen. They want to install. Yeah, this is what I was kind of getting at earlier. Casey's reiterating. Big names for offensive coordinator aren't going to happen because they want to install, run, and call the plays for their offenses. Love the channel, and will be fun to watch your draft content. Thank you, Casey. Yeah, we'll start digging into a little bit of the draft content soon. This channel will never be, hey, here's the top 10 wide receivers, here's this and that. But as the draft gets closer, and we even get closer to like free agency frenzy, we will sprinkle in draft talk in almost every single video, looking at all the big mocks, looking at players that could be available. And it's going to be a very intriguing one this year because the Chiefs are in the top 10. So that's looking at some of the best players at the position and who could be available outside of most likely the top 5. So it's going to be fun. I'm very excited, but you're right, Casey. And that's why I think sometimes Andy Reid is bringing back, this sounds bad, but it is kind of like a retread or a guy on a downslope that needs built back up, like Matt Nagy coming back from being fired from the Bears after his head coaching stint. And then that's why I could also see something like Doug Peterson, who got fired from being a head coach, or Mike Kafka. If let's say John Harbaugh does land with the Giants because he's like favored, he could get any job probably right now that's available. And then I'll be curious to see who ends up as the Ravens head coach with Lamar Jackson. But let's say John Harbaugh actually becomes he might be the front runner for the Giants. He comes over there. He doesn't want Mike Kafka to be the OC. I think Kafka's going to interview for the head coaching position, but if you had to choose between Kafka and Harbaugh, I don't know, probably choosing Harbaugh, but Kafka could very well find his way back. EB is interesting, Eric Bieniemy, because he's probably loving it over there to some extent with the Bears, right? But if he could be upgraded again, promoted again, rather, from a position coach back to offensive coordinator, I bet he would be willing because he probably wants to get another chance eventually to be a head coach. But all of those options, I'm saying all that to say this, all of them know when they come to Kansas City, they're not running the ship. They're not calling the shots. They are helping with the game plan. They are helping come up with ideas and stuff like that, which is why I love the Rams passing game coordinator or somebody like that from a different team entirely. Young, don't have a ton of experience, so you don't care that you don't get to run the offense. You don't really care. It's a good stepping stone. But yeah, so I'm with you, Casey. That's why they might have trouble landing a Cliff Kingsbury unless There's just no other job available for head coach that accepts him. And then from there, even if I'm Cliff Kingsbury, it's like, okay, do you want to go coach with Patrick Mahomes with the idea maybe in the back of your head, Andy Reid could be done in a couple of years, and then you could maybe have a chance to be the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs? Or do you go to another team that still needs an offensive coordinator, but you're actually going to get to run the offense? I just looked it up because I was curious. I knew he was in his 40s, but Cliff Kingsbury is only 46. So in 3 years, he would be 49 years old. He was formerly a head coach. He got a chance at it with the Cardinals. Didn't really work out, but Jonathan Gannon, I think, was the very next head coach, and it didn't work out with him either. He got let go. So Cliff Kingsbury wouldn't even be 50, or he would be somewhere like right around 50. Plenty of time left. We're talking about John Harbaugh getting another coaching opportunity. That guy's in his lower 60s, maybe? Let me look. John Harbaugh, age 63. So we'll see. I know I'm talking a little bit ahead here with Andy Reid retirement stuff because we don't know when that's going to happen. But I'm just saying, if Cliff Kingsbury is like, yeah, I know I won't be able to run the offense for the Kansas City Chiefs like I have been with the Commanders and other places that he's probably been. I can't remember his exact coaching history. But if he knew that there was potentially a chance there down the road, or even just Andy Reid potentially giving up some of the play calling duties here down the road as well. I'm not saying he will, but you can't rule that out completely. It is an option. It is a potential possibility for sure. Hannah with the 5. I would even take EB back as OC. Yeah, I definitely, I didn't see your comment, but I just talked about it a little bit. He comes from the Reid tree. He's a stickler for details. Lack of execution and penalties were an issue, and our running back room will improve. And yeah, that's something I'll point out. EB or Cliff Kingsbury might help with the Chiefs' run game. I just think even upgrading the running back room that was one of the worst in the NFL is going to help. I think it's not rocket science. Even if Matt Nagy stayed and you actually did what you needed to do to the running back room for a couple of years now, which is invest more than 1 year flyers, guys coming off of injury, or 7th round draft picks, your running back room would look better. I know that's, I was going to be like super sarcastic about it, not to you guys, but just to the coaching staff. But like, I know that it's hard to comprehend. If you actually put investment into the running back room, it'll look better, but that's what would happen. But then, yes, EB, I actually, my dream for EB, and it's not going to happen, but I would love EB in Kansas City as the Chiefs running backs coach. If he comes back as the OC, that's fine too. But man, as a running backs coach, he's a former NFL running back, longtime running backs coach, just throughout his NFL career or coaching career with the Chiefs even. He knows his stuff. And those guys are still in the meeting room and helping with the game plan. Right now, Todd Pinkston is the running backs coach for the Chiefs, and he's a former NFL wide receiver. Connor Embry is the wide receivers coach, and he's coached wide receivers in high school. So, yeah, so my dream would be EB as the running backs coach. He's probably not coming back to Kansas City unless he's the OC, and then I don't even know if that would happen. But yes, Matt Nagy going, this sounds bad. But anybody else that you bring in, it's something. It could be an upgrade. Yes, Andy Reid runs the show, but we've seen what we've had with Nagy, and let's move on. Let's do something else. We have to. So yeah, EB was a stickler for details. He probably was in the meeting room, like pushing back with Andy, and not afraid to kind of speak his mind, speak his piece. Something else, I think it was, I don't remember who said this, but they were talking about the Chiefs ran more when EB was the OC, but I don't think that's true. I think the Chiefs' run and pass play percentage has been about the same every single year since, I even looked up like the pass and run play percentage since 2017 when Kareem Hunt was a rookie, because I was trying to look like in more recent years, quote unquote, but also when the Chiefs, like when was the last time the Chiefs had a great running back? I think it was 2017. Kareem Hunt, rookie year in 2018, even. That's even a better example. Their run pass percentage in 2018, Kareem Hunt's second year, Mahomes' first year as a starter, was the same as last year. So it's about an average that's the same, but it's not always about how much you run. It's just, can you be as effective as possible when you get the opportunities? Or, a la Jerick McKinnon, can you be a problem to opposing defenses in the pass game as a receiving back too? This year, it was just a problem. Pacheco was a net negative in the pass game. If you remember, he's the one that, like, they had that game, I don't know if it was the Giants game, where Mahomes, like, threw a backward pass to him twice, and Pacheco wasn't ready for it. It was just some weird stuff. And then when you had Rashard Smith out there, you knew they weren't running in between the tackles. And then Kareem Hunt, he was fine, like, especially as a short yardage back, and I'm fine if he comes back next year to do that. But he's got not a lot of burst, man. He just doesn't have what he used to, and it's just fine. He's old for a running back. He's 30, maybe about to be 31. Hannah with two-bomb after the 5. Appreciate that. Browns and Cardinals. Where head coach and OC career, where head coach and offensive coordinator careers go to die. Yeah, I don't just looking at all the teams that have available spots. I don't love a lot of those options. Like, even Harbaugh, we kind of joked about it on Twitter. Like, it'd be funny if not funny, but kind of funny, if John Harbaugh ended up the head coach of the Raiders. You'd have Jim and John and Sean Payton, and that's annoying. But the Raiders' job is not desirable. Who wants that? Unless the pitch is, hey, we have the first overall pick, we're drafting a quarterback, and I don't know who it would be, Mendoza, or I think there's another guy that's could be one of the top, but that could be the pitch. Well, hey, we've got Brock Bowers. We got Ashton Genty. We could potentially trade Max Crosby and get even more draft picks. Like, we could reload, even though John Spytek, the Raiders GM, said they don't plan on trading Max Crosby. I'm just saying, that job could be a little bit enticing, but not nearly as enticing as, like, the Giants. Jackson Dart, Malik Neighbors, Cam Scatterbu, that defense, which is why Spags could interview for the Giants. It's kind of a shame that the defense was as dysfunctional as it was at times with all the talent they have. Spags could be a guy to go over there and really light that defense up. You get an offensive-minded guy calling the plays as the OC and run it, but it could very well be Harbaugh. Yeah, I don't love the Browns. Like, they don't have a quarterback. Deshaun Watson? I mean, maybe Shador, but it's like, I don't know. You got Dylan Gabriel too. It's just kind of a mess over there. And then the Cardinals, I think Kyler Murray's moving on. So good luck. If I'm Mike McDaniel, this is like a side note here. If I'm Mike McDaniel, I might be intrigued to go coach for Lamar Jackson. I know he's still under contract with the Dolphins, but there's got to be a lot of people interested to coach for Lamar Jackson. To have that opportunity there? Shoot. Dub Freak with the 10 bomb. Let's go, man. Hope you guys are doing well. Hey, Cole, you said, hey, Cole, hope you and the fam are doing good. I hope you and your fam are doing good. Thanks again for all the content you produce. Make staying up at 3 a.m. worth it. How about those Chiefs? Let's retool for next year. Man, I appreciate everybody that hangs out. But 3 in the morning, that's how you know you are a legend from across the pond. Okay, all you couch GM, said Witchy. Who is the Ravens' new head coach going to be now? I'm not even a couch GM. I am a basement, standing at my desk GM, looking in the camera with the bright lights. I don't know. Could be Cliff. Kevin Stefanski. I think they would benefit from having an offensive-minded head coach. Kevin Stefanski could be an option. But we shall see. Bro, can we keep the running back room? We have a lot of young, good running backs. I think we need to draft a wide receiver or running back. I don't know if I've understood your full comment, Bryce, but there's nobody in the running back room under contract after this season, or for 2026 rather, other than Rashard Smith. And I think you need to reset that. If you're saying, hey, can you bring back Dameon Pierce too? I mean, I guess. He ran 4 carries. against the Raiders. I don't know. If you have any, Pacheco's done. Kareem Hunt maybe could run it back as the short yardage guy. And the only reason why I'm saying that is because the Chiefs do not run a quarterback sneak. They will never run a quarterback sneak again, most likely, in the Patrick Mahomes era because of the dislocated knee cap that happened in whatever that was, 2019. Missed a few games there. They don't run a quarterback sneak. They won't do it. They stopped even doing the tight end sneak with Noah Gray because it really wasn't working. But what was working was Kareem Hunt on 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 4th and 1, 4th and 2. He was as effective as the tush push for the Philadelphia Eagles. It was like the percentages were right there. So at one point in the season, he was more efficient than the tush push. So that's why I'm like, okay, yeah, I could see him coming back, but nobody else. Kind of where I'm at with it. Don, thanks so much for the 6 months. Let's go. So tired of the shotgun formation. Yeah, the problem is that's not going away. The only way that's going away is if Andy Reid goes away. He's not going away. So my hope is instead of being the team that I think you ran the second or third most plays out of shotgun and you were bottom 3 in plays from under center, let's just even that out a little bit. Even if you are 10th most running plays out of shotgun, but you're actually 10th least, 10th to 12th least, or however you want to phrase that, running plays under center. It's better than the extreme far end of the spectrum. Like, can you get a little closer to the middle? You're not going here. You're not going 50-50. That's what the Rams do. That's number 1 in the NFL rate. You're not doing that. But the hope is Andy just adapts and tweaks things at 10 to 15%, I think would be helpful. You upgrade the running back room. You get a true wide receiver 1. And we could argue if you think Rice is a true 1. I don't think he is, but it's not really a diss. He has his role. He's very good against zone coverage. Needs to work on the drops a little bit. Still shaking off the rust from missing most of the year to injury and then not half, but just under half the season due to suspension. But I want a guy that you could throw a ball to if Mahomes is under pressure. It's just a safety valve. Give Mahomes a safety valve, regardless if it's zone, regardless if it's man, that he could throw the ball up and the guy can just make some plays. Who did that this year? Kind of Thornton? Kinda? I'm not saying you can just go out there and get a Puka Nacua or find a Puka Nacua. But somebody like that. Like, who else? I mean, Puka's only like 6'2". It doesn't have to be a huge guy. It doesn't have to be 6'4", like, I think George Pickens maybe would be about that. I think T. Higgins is. Who was the guy that really struggled with Cortland Sutton? I'm trying to think of guys that Trent McDuffie struggled against because he's 5'11". But upgrading the running back room and getting a dude, I don't know why I said it like that, a dude at wide receiver, I think would be pretty beneficial. Yeah, Justin Jefferson, like that would be great. But you're not trading for him. Yeah, Megatron, I like that a lot. Someone like Kyle Pitts, sure. Cole, will Travis Kelce retire this offseason? I would hope that he comes back next year. And that's another factor of the equation because Travis Kelce's not under contract anymore. So he needs to decide eventually here if he's coming back or not. Obviously, before free agency frenzy would be helpful so the Chiefs can start forming a plan. And I don't think he could come back for $20 million. I think his market value on Spot Track's like 10 or 11. That's probably better. But again, does he want to return? We'll see about that. And that's going to affect some of the plans as well. For sure. Hannah with the 5. We don't need to draft a running back first pick. Monungai, Bears 7th round, and a beast is a beast. We need a pass rusher for first round. McKinnon was a vet running back when he came to KC. Yeah, I think still they need to do more than what they tried with McKinnon, which worked. But he was a running back that came off of like back-to-back season-ending injuries. He had a season or two of production, maybe just one, with the 49ers after back-to-back season-ending injuries. I still think you need to do more than that. But sure, if you don't want to draft a running back in round 1 like Jeremiah Love, okay. But you have to address it in free agency to a higher level than you think you need to, probably. Just, it's also because of the way that the league is shifting and the value that is placed once again on running backs. The Chiefs have they face the most light boxes in the NFL. You could pull up next gen stats right now, go to offensive stats, light boxes, sort it by percentage. And the Chiefs have the most light boxes in the NFL, which just means they're not playing nearly as many guys in the box preparing for the run because they do not fear it. They do not care. So, yes, upgrade the running back room. It doesn't necessarily have to be a first-round draft pick. No, it doesn't. But this is probably too optimistic or aggressive for them. But I would love, if you're not going to do that, it's fine. But go get a Breece Hall. Go get a Kenneth Walker. Go get somebody that is actually going to be a difference maker in the running back room. And you could still try out another one-year flyer a la Jerick McKinnon situation, which worked out really well. But I would love to see them just take bigger swings at the running back room, because even a bigger swing, quote unquote, in the running back room, it's not financially as insane as a big swing in free agency for a defensive end or a wide receiver. And you still might need to take some swings, but you also got to get under the cap. They're like $54 million over, most in the NFL. You're going to restructure or do something to Patrick Mahomes' contract because his cap hit is in the 70s. I'm talking millions. $70 million something dollars is Mahomes' cap hit right now. It's like Lamar Jackson's. They're not staying there. So there will be things that they could do. And then you've got to spend some money. They'll do it every year, like every team. Get under the cap, spend some money, do it all over again. Let's see. CBKC with the 10. Thanks so much for the 10 bomb, brother. Cole, let's play safe or not safe. Okay. Andy Reid, safe. And when you say safe or not safe, do you just mean, because like sometimes when I'm looking at these names, like Spags could get hired as a head coach somewhere, maybe, and go. But I think he's safe in the sense of he's not going to get fired. So like Andy's safe. Matt Nagy, no, not safe. He's done. Spags probably safe unless he gets a head coaching gig that he wants to move on. Like, there's no other reason for him to move on. He's not, I don't think, going to be a defensive coordinator elsewhere. He's still under contract. I think he signed an extension. I don't know how long. Dave Tobe, I still think he's safe. Yeah. I think Dave Tobe is safe. I know I've said in some videos like, hey, if they want to mix some things up and shake some things up a little bit, firing Dave Tobe or moving on from Dave Tobe could be a way to go. He has such a long tenured history running top special teams units, for one, but two, just with Andy Reid. I just don't think that is realistic. Now, if special teams is atrocious again next year, we could talk about it. Same with the Chiefs offense in general next year. The fire Andy Reid stuff. Nah. Not happening. Look, Andy Reid is washed, lost his fastball completely. Look at the offense without Mahomes the last 3 weeks. I can't read much into that. I understand who they were playing was not good, except for the Broncos. They're the 1 seed. But the Titans and the Raiders, you lost to both. Man, you had no Rice. You had no Thornton. I think you had 4 wide receivers not playing by the end of that. You had no Worthy. You had no Remigio, for what that's worth. You were on offensive tackle 5 and 6. Esa Pole and Jason Chu-Godric, your international pathway player, and then the defense was missing players too. I'm not reading too much into all that, but to circle back to the original point, even with the new OC, Andy Reid still has the reins, calling the shots. Even if the Chiefs have one more down year like this, you have to have some really serious conversations. How can you not? You've got Patrick Mahomes at that time, who would be 31, about to turn 32, still got years left in the tank. You can't have another down year. So I think the pressure is on, but I'm pretty sure Andy's safe unless he wants to retire. Connor Embry, the wide receiver coach, I think he's not safe. I think he should go bye-bye. Go work at Starbucks. Just kidding. That's mean. But just don't coach wide receivers. Do something else. They need a real wide receiver coach. Andy Heck O-line, I think he's safe. We've seen some people like Jason Dunn, former Chiefs tight end, say that the offensive line has struggled this year blocking effectively in the run game. And so some of that is on Andy Heck for sure. But man, I don't think he's going anywhere. Todd Pinkston, that's the running backs coach. He might be safe, but if you're going to do something, move him to wide receiver coach and get a real running backs coach then. Do something. Joe Cullen's safe. Brendan Daly. So Joe Cullen's the D-line coach. Brendan Daly's the linebackers coach. I think they're both safe unless they move on for a promotion elsewhere. Like if Joe Cullen gets offered a defensive coordinator position or something, they're going to take that. But I think most of those guys are safe, other than, hopefully, Connor Embry, Matt Nagy, maybe Todd Pinkston. I think most of everybody else is good to go. Meg with the 5. I truly hope Andy surprises us all and actually makes the coaching changes to bring the team back on track. Not holding my breath, but I hope we don't see an announcement that they're keeping the coaching staff intact. I will really be sad. I will be disappointed if that happens. But I think Matt Nagy's moving on. So you're at least getting a new OC. By new, it could be a guy that's not new, but being brought back. But I still think some other stuff that's going to help the wide receiver room get better is like a real wide receivers coach. The running back room get better. A better upgrade at your running backs coach. So there is elements of that could make them better. How much are they going to actually change? Your guess is as good as mine, but we should find out here soon. Janae with the 3 months. Thank you so much. Hey, Cole, thanks for everything. Love the energy and love the passion. Heck yeah. Born and raised in Kansas City, and win or lose, go Chiefs. Ben Johnson? Well, he's not leaving. Cole, if Reed won't start cutting, why don't Veach override? Yeah, so kind of my hot take about Brett Veach is he reports to Andy Reid. Like, I understand Veach is the GM, and I am sure there's a lot of areas where Veach can kind of do his thing, but I still think Andy Reid oversees a lot more than we probably know, and I still think Veach gets the green light from Andy Reid. I can't confirm that as like fact, but that's what I think is going. That's kind of the structure that I think it is. And I do think Brett Veach should get a little bit more reins in the sense of like, don't just try to get like when you're going into free agency or going into the draft, don't obsess over does this player fit the scheme. To some extent, you have to marry those together. Like the player, can they fit the scheme that the Chiefs run? But sometimes it can be you overthink that and just like miss out on dogs, like great players. The D-line has been an issue for me with the inability to draft an effective defensive lineman. Now, we'll see about Omar Norman-Lott. We'll see about Ashton Gelati. Too early to know. But FAU, I think that was a miss. George Karlaftis, fine. He's fine. He's a solid defensive end too. But outside of that, look at everybody that Veach has drafted. D-line. I mean, Colin Saunders was okay. Like, he was fine. And outside of that, who? Derek Nottie? Breland Speaks? You know what I mean? So, but that's where you're like trying to find these Spags prototypes too. But sometimes it's just like, man, we've got to figure out, there's like a disconnect there. Because even when Veach goes and gets somebody, they don't get used sometimes. You trade for Joshua Uche. He didn't even get used. So, I don't know how much of a hot take that is about Brett Veach, but I hope he gets more control and more of the reins, because I don't honestly know where to blame Brett Veach and where that blame belongs to Andy Reid. And I'm not absolving Veach for misses, because he has misses. And I do think he's got some decision-making there as the GM, but not as much, in my opinion, as like the traditional GM. Like, I don't technically see in the pecking order Veach over Andy Reid. Like, he came up with Andy Reid. You know what I mean? Do you guys agree with me on that? Yeah, I'm seeing you guys talking about some of the bad D-line picks. My opinion, draft Bain Jr. I've seen a lot of people talking about him. Can we stop getting penalty flags? I get sick of and tired of penalties. Sure, that is a theme of the season. You've got to tighten that up for sure. And that's on like all phases of the football. It's like the offense and key downs. Some of that was on Jawan Taylor. Yes. Sometimes it was just random holds on one of the tackles. Could have been Josh Simmons. It could have been, yeah, like pick your poison there. And some of those were like in the red zone, negating stuff. But then special teams penalties on punt returns, on kick returns, on defense. How many times is Chris Jones going to line up in the neutral zone? I swear that happened like 5 or 6 times this year. How many times is that going to happen? Kingsley Suamataia, more carries. That was great. Yes, Reed is clearly the actual decision maker. Yeah, that's why I kind of, with Veach, like, I have respect for Veach. I think he's a good GM. I just don't know how much freedom he actually has to go out there and, like, do his thing. Andy Reid's not into all the financials, and I don't think he's into all that. And maybe as Veach has gotten more experience under his belt, I hope the leash, what would you call it? Like, they're giving him a longer leash, if that's like the proper phrasing, to make more decisions and to kind of have more say. But that is kind of how I think that the Chiefs operate personally. Witchy, thank you for the 16 months. Hannah with the 2. Go get Brian Hartline from Ohio State as wide receiver coach. Yeah, I'm not opposed to moving or going to get guys from the college ranks either. Just will they actually make some of these moves? I hope we kind of find that out here soon. And maybe some of that is like they want to bring in who the OC is first and have some input there before, but tough to know. Jai, the music man, my bad. I think it's Jai. I don't think it's Jay, but I could be wrong. But dude, thanks so much for the membership. Chris Jones didn't start playing until we played Houston. Before that, he wasn't to be seen. Yeah, he's still the second highest graded interior defensive lineman on a pass rush grade, the second highest win percentage among all interior defensive linemen, only behind Jeffrey Simmons in both of those categories. So he's still playing at a high level. He's just not head and shoulders above everybody else. And then his supporting cast got worse. They missed Turk Wharton quite a bit. Mike Dana took a step back. We thought Minihue would look, and I think he showed some flashes there a little bit more towards the end of the season. Just we're hoping for more from a Minihue, coming like a further year removed from the ACL. FAU, I think you were hoping for something. Didn't really get that. He got hurt, actually, for the whole season. He was put on IR, but George is good, fine, great defensive end too. But outside of that, you need somebody else. So worst supporting cast. You were hoping for Omar Norman Lott to make some splashes back half of the season, and he tore his ACL. Yeah, so it's an element of both, or 3 things, really. Pro in the comments said Chris Jones had little support. That's true. He has taken a bit of a step back. That's true, but he's still, again, amongst the top guys among all interior defensive linemen. Not as good against the run anymore, even though he had some good run stops as well. But then, yeah, I think there was a lack of effort on some plays too, but he was playing an outrageous amount of snaps, more than he probably should have been playing. You can agree with that? Fair enough. Fair enough. Every time, not every time, but a lot of times when we make a statement, it's like I don't know, football's so complex. It's like a multifaceted problem. So, for example, like we talked about Chris Jones, but I think when you talk about the run game, well, it's multifaceted. The running back room's not great. Sure, the O-line could probably block better sometimes, and then the play calling doesn't help with that either. Very little plays from under center. If you are under center, 80% of the time you're running. If you're in shotgun with an RPO, 80% of the time you're throwing. Like, you have to step this up on multiple fronts here. Coaching, play calling, scheme, and personnel. It's not always just one thing in particular. And that's why Twitter is like a funny place to try to have serious conversations. It's about impossible, because my pushback to the Cliff Kingsbury thing was kind of the under center thing, just the initial pushback. But again, if I'm on a video and I have 5 minutes to talk about it, I can hit every angle, my reasons why, but an upgrade from Nagy is better than nothing, and I still think there could be some positives of Kingsbury coming to the Chiefs as the OC, even though I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's that likely. But on Twitter, it's like, yeah, like a paragraph, and then everybody freaks out because you didn't talk about A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It's like, well, I'm not doing that on Twitter. Sorry, just not doing that. Not spending all that time. But I do try. It's better here. This is why I prefer YouTube. It's better here. I'm not even a writer anyway. I talk on camera. That's where I communicate. CB with the 10 gifted. Holy smokes, man. With the 10 bomb. Thank you. Can't believe we wasted those picks to get Derek Nottie back. What even was the pick? Wasn't it just like a late round pick swap, maybe? Maybe? I can't remember. It wasn't much. X is horrible. Okay, are you talking about Worthy? Oh, or just, sorry. Twitter is, okay, X, Twitter. Yeah, I just call it Twitter because I guess I'm old. I don't know. It's not even some weird, like, I hate Elon thing. It's just like, dude, that's Twitter. Like, whatever you try to change it to, cool, but that's Twitter. But yeah, X, Twitter. But yeah, it can be toxic. It's fine. But when you were talking about X, I thought you were talking about Xavier Worthy, because he's been in a conversation as well recently of he's not as much as we were hoping for either. I do think he was playing through injury, but I'm like, man, if he was, I was a little surprised he didn't get shut down, to be honest with you. But if he doesn't need shoulder surgery, then there's really no need to shut that down. If we find out in like 2 weeks that Xavier Worthy has shoulder surgery, then I'll be really confused, unless it was like an incentive thing for his contract and they were doing him a favor, why you didn't shut him down and get the surgery that takes a solid 8 months to recover from. But you know what? Maybe the thought is, hey, the season's over. You could get shoulder surgery January 15th and you are going to be fine moving forward. But we'll see. We will see about Xavier Worthy. I just think he's like a fine wide receiver 3 or something like that, maybe. That's what I think. Okay, so look at this. Which player had the better start to their career first 2 seasons? Player A, 67 catches on 103 targets, 1,100 yards, 10 touchdowns. I know who both of these players are, by the way, so just spam chat if you want with who you think, A or B. B, 101 catches on 171 targets, 1,170 yards, 7 touchdowns. You going A or B? Which player had the better start to their career first 2 seasons? Nelly with a $13.99 Canadian, while you guys let me know that. Love your shorts and updates. Thank you for your insights and logic. Looking forward to a better 2026 start. In 2027, Super Bowl starring Mahomes. No injuries, please. Hey, thank you so much for the kind words. Really appreciate that. I'm curious what you guys think on B and A. But yeah, we'll be providing content all off season long, and win or lose, good or bad season, there will always be stuff to talk about. So A, since we're voting A or B, A, I'm glad you enjoy, and B, it means a lot that you guys enjoy it enough to watch and consume the content, because that's how it all works. No views, no money. And it's not like a clickbait thing. It's just YouTube pays for watch time. That's how it goes. All right, so it's really a lot of back and forth, mostly A's, some B's. So A is McCole Hardman, B is Worthy, which some of you might have just known that. I think expectations might have been a little higher for Worthy. Again, I know he is battling through injury, so I've definitely talked about that before, but McCole Hardman was also playing, guys, behind prime Kelsey and Tyreek Hill. You have Kelsey and Rice, but then Worthy, yeah, I don't know. This was a really weird year from him. I know that he was injured, and that played a bit of a role, but yeah, I don't know. this was just an interesting thing that Carrington Harrison put up. I don't know that I would have thought about even talking about and comparing the two seasons. I'm still not super low on Worthy personally, and I hope he gets healthy and he bounces back. But it has been a disappointing season for sure. And I think some of that is you could use a real wide receiver coach. You could better scheme and like have a little bit better of a scheme there, utilize Worthy's strengths a bit more. And then if he gets offseason shoulder surgery, that really confirms like how banged up he was playing, which I just figured you would need it. If you dislocate your shoulder and you've got a big labrum tear, I've had 2 shoulder surgeries to my labrum. It's very uncomfortable and they don't really heal on their own. So yeah, we'll see. But just hoping for more from really everybody next year too. Just in general. Hopefully Mahomes comes back. He's looking good, healthy from the ACL. Worthy is looking good. Rice kind of continues building upon this year and knocks some of the rust off with another full offseason under his belt and all that. And you make some changes here. Devils. We got Joe with the 5. Thank you, man. I would love to see Breece Hall on this team. I'm just not sure if he would be used properly. He will also be expensive. Yeah, probably like 10-ish million a year, which is a lot. I don't know if the Chiefs are going to do that, man. Maybe you go like Rico Dowdle or something like that, and you still draft a running back too. Like maybe not like super early. Free agent running backs. Let me look. Those like Kenneth Walker and Breece Hall are like the upper echelon guys. Where in the world? Let me do this. Free agent running backs. Yeah, here we go. I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see. Yeah, so, okay, market value. This is why I thought the sorting was weird. Yeah, like Breece Hall might very well be $10 million a year, which is a lot. I don't know if the Chiefs are going to do that, to be honest. Dobbins is an option, but Dobbins has the health issues. I feel like he's been hurt quite a bit. Kenneth Walker, Travis Etienne. See, like this territory. I don't Mark Pacheco's value, $4 million a year. I don't know, man. But yeah, like even this territory, Etienne and Dowdle, that might do a little bit more for you. But yeah, if you're not taking a bigger swing, I don't know. Will they do it? We'll see. They haven't typically invested like at all in the running back room, but they need to pretty badly. And if you say like, I don't know if they'll be utilized right, I mean, they're going to be utilized more sparingly than they would on a run first team. But the idea is you're bringing in somebody like that to do some stuff at a high level when given the opportunity. And maybe you're out there quite a bit for run or as a receiving option out of the backfield. Let's see. Falconer with the 5. Devil's advocate here. Why waste pick number 9 on Love? I don't think Andy is going to suddenly start running the ball for one player. Prove me wrong. I mean, my real thoughts on that is I don't really care who they draft right now in round 1 because we just don't know what they're going to do in free agency. But if you just say, hey, let's just say that was the plan. Yeah, they're not going to, it goes back to my previous answer. They're not going to run more than they normally do. But let's say they addressed some other things in free agency and they do get Love. There will be people scared and afraid that he's going to be a wasted pick, but I think he would be a game-changing pick for the offense. Somebody that can give you explosives, somebody that can potentially completely change not completely, but change quite a bit how defenses play you. They would be scared of the run game. They would be scared of play action. They would bite again on play action and RPOs. And he could also be used as a guy out of the backfield to catch passes that is actually scary with the ball in his hands. So you got to think about not just how many times the Chiefs would hand the ball off to somebody, but what else they do as an extension of their run game. Quick passes, screens, bubble screens, and stuff like that, and just using Jerick McKinnon style running backs out of the backfield. So I'm for it, I guess. I don't think it's going to happen, though. I don't think Jeremiah Love is a Chief. And it's too early to know. But let's see what they do in free agency first, and then we can kind of worry about it from there. Darrell with the 2. Thank you. Hey, call, I'm late to the party. Good to see y'all. Heck yeah, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for the 2 bomb. Alexander with the 37 months. Whoever is in charge of Ohio State's wide receiver. Oh, wide receivers is who I want. So, like their wide receiver coach, they crank out elite talent every year. Yes, I know about recruiting, but their coaching is elite. Seems like it. Year in and year out, some of the top guys coming out of that school for sure. Sounds good. Bring him to the Chiefs. Who is it? Bring him here. Hannah with the 2. Pickens in free agency. Andy can handle his drama. I think that, well, what is his market value? I just feel like it's going to be expensive. What is, let's see, market value? George Pickens' market value is $30 million. Does he actually get that? I don't know. Because, yeah, you also have to deal with the extra stuff. But $30 million? God, dude. I don't think the Chiefs would do that, but you never know. Now, let's just say they do. Would it be fun? Heck yeah. There's your wide receiver 1. And you got Rice as a very solid 2, and you upgrade the running back room. Let's go. Hunter with the 2. Love would be a Kenneth Gainwell for the Chiefs. I don't know. Kenneth Gainwell, I don't exactly know what you mean by that, to be honest with you. It's like good or bad in your eyes. Because he hasn't done all that much in the sense of just like high flashy stats, but he's been able to do a little bit of everything. Like even with the Steelers this year, which is a little bit of an abnormality because of how their offense has to function, because it's lame, to be honest. Well, it's just weird with all the tight ends and running back usage in the pass game. But Gainwell right now has 500 yards on the ground, 500 in the air. I would hope you would get more production out of that, out of if you drafted somebody that early. But I don't know, man. I think we're very quickly going to get tired of the Jeremiah Love talk round 1. It's just very hard to know what the Chiefs are going to do right now when the draft isn't for 4.5 months. 4 months and 3 weeks. Is that right? February, March, April, 3.5 months? Maybe I'm saying it wrong. It's months away. I can't do math. Ree with the 40 months. How about them fullbacks? I think some people are of the opinion the Chiefs should bring back the fullback to help even more with the run game. I would have to actually dive into the stats and analytics on that a little bit because they haven't had a fullback in a couple years. Did they not do away with the fullback 1 year and then bring them back the year after? I would just kind of have to look up what years the Chiefs had fullbacks and how it affected their run game. But I am kind of open to a lot of ideas to help with the run game, but my pushback to fullback is if you don't have your short yardage guy or you don't get a running back in free agency that you're super confident about in short yardage situations, I think it's either Kareem Hunt or a fullback. Because I don't think you could justify having Kareem Hunt on the roster and a fullback, but if one of the running backs you get in free agency you are happy enough with, even in short yardage situations, you could definitely bring a fullback in. Go more under center, I formation, get it done. That's a cancer you don't want. You talking about Pickens? I don't think that's likely just because of also the price tag. We'll see. I think he's going to get offered an ungodly amount of money. Personally. We could use Steele in short yardage. Nah. Carson Steele? Nah, he needs somebody else. Like it's either Kareem Hunt for short yardage or it's one of the higher profile guys you're signing or drafting to kind of get that done. Get a hybrid tight end fullback. That's how they kind of use their offense, really. Like how many times will you see Travis Kelce or Noah Gray in the backfield with a running back? Yeah, Chiefs D said, this is not another CEH situation. Love is a legitimate game changer. Yeah, I mean, everything I've seen from him, I've watched a bunch of his highlights by now. Like, he looks fun. But it's like, okay, what are the Chiefs going to do first in free agency? What holes are they going to have heading into the draft? What defensive linemen are going to be available then because they really need help at the D-line spot. Like whether it's tackle or edge, you can make a case for both. Either. Yeah, you mean an actual fullback. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you go fullback again, I mean like what, Mike Burton? But yeah, Juszczyk's one of the best fullbacks in the NFL. I think he might be the highest paid fullback. Kyle Juszczyk. Let me look at his contract because it's way more than the Chiefs would pay. $4 million a year is what he's making. Highest paid fullback in the NFL. I say don't trade down, enjoy the high pick. Yeah, and that's another option. Chiefs could be like looking at the board and being like, man, we don't have any of the guys we were hoping would be here at 9. Let's see if another team wants to trade up and get something. You trade back a handful of picks and get another draft pick and kind of go that route. That could very well happen, but who knows? We'll see. We will see. Not all running backs are the same. Get love, won't regret it. Steele is decent, but is not Hunt. No. We can't afford a free agent running back? Yeah, you can. Absolutely. Yeah, I made a video recently on how the Chiefs can get well over the cap and spend money. But you have to make some moves. And then a couple restructures. Mahomes, and I think you could do Creed. There's any of the higher profile guys, like you could with Chris Jones, but I don't love that idea. And just for clarity, if you restructure somebody's contract or convert some of their contract rather into like a signing bonus, they're still getting the money. A lot of them are just getting it up front. It's cash that has to be paid out by the owner. But sometimes when you're doing some of those things, it's also pushing money down the road, or dead cap down the road, cap hits down the road. And the Chiefs don't typically like to do that. They are pretty conservative with how they operate there. But they'll have money. I mean, the reality is, would you sign a running back for let's say $7 to $8, $9 million a year, and then draft a defensive end in round 1, or go try to get a great defensive end for $20+ million a year and then try to draft a running back round 1? I mean, you probably are doing the inverse. You're probably you're taking care of the quote unquote cheaper position in free agency and then addressing one of the more expensive ones, could be wide receiver early in the draft. And who knows? We'll see. We shall see. I really hope Rice isn't my wide receiver 1 next year. I don't think so. At least I hope not. Not because I like Rice, but you need another playmaker in there for sure. Yeah, Boye Mafe, he's going to be a free agent, I think. Yeah, let's look at him because the Chiefs were interested in him before the trade deadline. It almost went through, actually. Where's Boye Mafe? Where are you at? Or is he not a free agent? Is he still under contract? What's his contract look like? I actually don't even know. He's still on his rookie deal? That might be actually what it is. No, he's a free agent. He'll be 28 years old, but he's a free agent. Okay. Why didn't I see him? I probably just can't read. Where the heck are you, dude? There he is. He doesn't have a market value, that's why. So I'm not really sure. Trying to navigate Spot Track sometimes is hilarious because it's kind of glitchy. I wish you guys could see what I'm seeing right now. It looks insane. It just keeps refreshing and telling me, now it's telling me I have a virus. All right, never mind, dude. Not looking at your site right now. I know he's expensive, but I'm tired of small receivers. Yeah, for sure. The smaller bodied, speedy guys, I think, can have a role to play, but I would also still, that's why when I say I want like an alpha wide receiver, it's like, go get a dude, a little bit bigger bodied, weighs a little bit more, still can be athletic, but can also just make plays, can get 50-50 balls, make contested catches at the catch point, win against man in zone. So yeah, I'm kind of there with you. I don't really have a virus, guys. Yeah, Spot Track turned into a Norton antivirus ad. Like, what are you doing? Get out of here. Well, that's a complicated question, but Joshua said if Rice is not the Chiefs wide receiver 1, who do you see taking over? And that's what I'm saying. I don't know. We could look at the wide receiver free agents, like pending free agents, and just kind of like speculate. But to get a true quote unquote wide receiver 1 in free agency is going to be very expensive. So one argument is you do it in the draft and you do it early, but easier said than done. There's been plenty of receivers over the years that have turned into great, like Puka was what, a 4th or 5th round pick? It doesn't always have to be one of the top receivers off the board. Let's see. Okay, I'm pulling up wide receivers now. Free agent wide receivers. George Pickens, Alec Pierce. Let me make sure they're actually available. UFA. Okay. George Pickens, Alec Pierce, Deebo Samuel, Jawan Jennings. Jawan Jennings could be an interesting one where he'd be a pretty effective guy. He's 28 years old already, but he's not going to be like $30 million a year. Who else we got? Rashid Shaheed, Mike Evans is a dude, but he's going to be 33. Little scary. But yeah, that's part of the problem. Sometimes if you're hitting free agency, there's not a lot available per se, and they're also going to be teams willing to bid. What do you want to be our OC if Nagy leaves? I talked about it, Axe, at the beginning of this video for like the first 10 minutes. If you just go there, I give you everything possible, but the short answer, probably Nate Scheelhaus of the Rams. He's their pass game coordinator. Second pick of everybody that's been talked about, maybe Cliff Kingsbury, if I had to choose between like that and Doug Peterson or Mike Kafka or Eric Bieniemy returning. What do you think of the idea of Justin Jefferson coming to the Chiefs? Sure, sounds good, but the Chiefs are going to need to trade 2 1s and pay him $35 million a year with his contract, so don't love that. How do I feel about Rice? I like Rice. I just think he is a solid wide receiver too. Is kind of where I'm at with it. But again, we don't know what the Chiefs are going to be able to do in free agency. We don't know what they're going to be able to do in the draft. So they might roll into 2026 with Rice as their primary guy. I just don't think he is your wide receiver 1 in like the traditional sense. But could he be your most productive wide receiver in 2026? Yeah, for sure. It isn't happening. Oh yeah, Justin Jefferson? Nah. Andy Reid likes giving players second chances. Would Ayuk be a player like that? Yeah, I guess he is an option. He's not on this list, but because his contract situation is super weird. But I'm sure he's going to be with a different team. They voided his guarantees. He's in a weird spot, though. He was like, I think there's just something going on. I won't say like CTE or anything like that. I don't know what's really going on, but he's like filming himself speeding past the 49ers stadium going over 100 miles an hour. Just like posting like really weird stuff like during the season recently. It's a very odd situation. So I guess I don't mind the idea, but you can't offer Ayuk a bunch of money. This dude, if I'm the GM and you're just looking at cost, ROI, like all the business stuff, if you're going to fork out money, will this player produce? Well, Brandon Ayuk got paid like whatever. 20-something or close to $30 million a year, and that didn't even work out. He stopped showing up to practice. He wants out. They're voiding his guarantees in future years, and it was wishy-washy anyway with staying. So that scares me. If you're going to try to sign him to like a multi-year deal, it definitely scares me. JSN, he's under contract with the Seahawks. He's not going anywhere. Ayuk is a weird situation. I agree with you. I like Pickens more than Ayuk, if we're like way more, in the sense of concern level, fear factor, that kind of stuff. Brand in the house with the 5, just trolling, but the Chiefs made the Super Bowl every year. We had Justin Watson and missed the playoffs after letting him go. Just saying. Maybe Justin Watson was what was needed. Maybe that's what happened. Shout out to Justin Watson. He's a guy that signed a futures contract with the Chiefs, I think in February of 2022, ended up carving his way onto the roster, a role out in the offense, and was a productive player in his role. 1 to 2 solid catches a game. you could depend on him. And now I think he's with the Texans, and they're in the playoffs. Yeah, I definitely miss Justin Reed as well. Somebody said Justin Reed. Alex Pierce is going to cost $20+ million. Yeah, any of the higher profile, like, I'll just show you. This is not exact science, the spot track market value stuff, but it's like ballpark. A ballpark it. But yeah, Pickens, $30 million a year. Whew. Pierce, 20. Debo, like we're not paying that for Debo. That's insane. Jawan Jennings is a kind of an intriguing guy. Rashid has been productive since getting traded to the Seahawks. I like Mike Evans a lot. You could talk me into Mike Evans. Not for a ton of money, but he still could be a dude, even at the age of 33. Tough to know, man. It's tough to know. Pickens is not nearly worth that. No, I don't think the Chiefs are paying anybody $30 million a year. That's crazy. Pickens is going to get paid by somebody. He's only 24 years old. He'll be 25 soon. Pierce can go up and get it. He's a number one with a QB like Mahomes. You think he's a number one in the traditional sense of route tree, man zone stuff? I know he's kind of their deep threat. I haven't watched enough to really know. Evans, if he was 4 years younger, yeah, you're signing Evans to like a 1-year mercenary contract. He's your mercenary for the year. Bring him in. Cool. Can we finally admit Sky Moore wasn't the problem? Maybe the Kingdom should send him a fruit basket. Well, sometimes it's just scenery. Change of scenery is a good thing. He has been better with the 49ers as a returner. He's had a long return, at least one on kickoffs, a long return on punts, maybe a couple longer returns on punts. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. Is it Tobe? Just no confidence from being forced out there as a rookie when he wasn't ready. Was muffing all those punts. It completely crushed his confidence. It was another smaller-bodied wide receiver. Sky Moore is 5'10". McCole Hardman, which he was pretty productive but he was 5'9". 5'10", rather, than Hollywood Brown, 5'9". You could kind of go down the list with a lot of the smaller-bodied guys. But yeah, I'm happy for Sky, to be honest with you. I thought he needed to be traded before the season. So he did get traded. That wasn't really a surprise. I didn't think he was making the roster. And I was happy to see him balling out. Heck yeah, man. Sky played scared. Yeah, I think it was a big confidence thing. Wan'Dale Robinson, perfect guy to grab, in my opinion. He's more built up, unlike Worthy and Rice, in the body. But also a great quality wide receiver. He's only 25 as well. He's only 25 years old. He'll be a free agent here soon. Well, no, he is a free agent, actually, because the Giants season is over. What is his stats? What is his stuff looking like over here? He had 1,000 yards and 4 touchdowns this year. 700 yards the year prior. What is his height and weight? I don't know a lot about Wan'Dale, to be honest with you. But we'll definitely, in some of these videos coming up, talk about free agents that could be a good fit or a potential fit for the Chiefs. He is... Oh, God bless. He's 5'8", 185. No! Why do you got to be 5'8", man? I mean, I guess you could if you wanted to. He's only 5'8". I mean, he's been really productive. Oh, that actually hurt me to see that. I drank what with the membership? Thank you, man. Marcus with a 10. Sorry, not football related. I lost my job November 25th and have been without one since. Ah, man, it's rough finding one. This community helped me through. I start my new job Monday. Bro, let's go, man. Heck yeah. Marcus, we'll talk about it tomorrow. Member stream, Zoom call if you're available. Heck yeah. I didn't know he was shorter. Yeah, I saw that he was 5'8", and I got sad. I got sad, man. He's a local guy, played 4 years at Nebraska. Love that. I have us getting Chris Brazel, the second. Okay, nice. No idea who that is. Maybe I should. I haven't really done any draft stuff yet. Cool. What does Spot Track say about the pass rusher free agents this offseason? We kind of looked at them. Yeah, we looked at them earlier. And, we looked at them. I can pull it up again. I kind of said some of the names. Actually, no, I didn't. Not really. We were looking for like one guy. Boye Mafe. Trey Hendrickson. No thanks. What the heck is going on? Hello? Let's see. Trey Hendrickson. Probably not at 31. Kwity Paye. Joseph Osai. The man who pushed Mahomes out of bounds in the AFC Championship game. Bosa. Arden Key. Draymond Jones. Epineza. Arnold Ebiketie. I think that's how you say his last name. I kind of forgot. Leonard Floyd. A lot of these guys are, let's go age. Let's go younger age. Ojabo. Yeah, Osai. Cam Thomas, which would be hilarious because isn't that who the Chiefs traded for once before the deadline anyway? Ooh, get another Kingsley. Yeah, Kwity Paye. Arnold Ebiketie. Boye Mafe. Watch out for Mafe, because the Chiefs try to target him before the trade deadline. Joshua Uche. He's not coming back. They tried that. Couldn't even get on the field. There's quite a bit of names, man, but it's like, who are the Chiefs really going to... What are you going to do? I think you got to draft. You got to go in the draft here a little bit, because you're already paying Chris Jones so much money. You're already paying... George Karloff is not like a truck ton, but quite a bit. And he might just hire Doug Peterson. He very well might. He very well might. Big wide receiver with ball skills. Love that. Carnell Tate would be nice. Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, I know he just declared officially for the draft, today? I haven't got like deep into his highlights, but he's a bigger bodied guy a little bit. He's 6'3", 200 pounds. So it's not 5'8". Not 5'8". Keno with the 10. I think we should get a 6-foot-plus monster wide receiver in the draft. We need height and strength, not speed. We have that. You got Worthy. I mean, who do you actually really have under contract after this year or heading into next year? Like, Thornton is not technically under contract. He's a free agent, I believe. Let me actually double check. I'm pretty sure he's just straight up a free agent. Tyquan Thornton contract. Let me double check that one. Yeah, because he just signed a 1-year deal with the Chiefs. His rookie deal, I think, expired with the Patriots. So yeah, he's just a free agent. But the only guys, really, you have Royals, you have Rice, and Worthy. I think those are really your only three. Yeah, we don't know anything about Royals because he didn't play. So I know he has like some Rice elements to his game. He's 6 foot, 200 pounds. Jack said salary cap's a farce. Look at the Eagles. They had an unlimited cap every year. And that will catch up to them eventually, but yeah, they are definitely basically on the opposite end of how the Chiefs like to navigate the cap, that's for sure. But they've been able to make it work. They make a lot of moves. They made a Super Bowl. They made 2 Super Bowls in 3 years, won, and they're back in the playoffs again. So it's obviously working. The only problem with short arms. What are his arms? Is he like a T-Rex? Brian Thomas Jr. was pretty bad last year. Yeah. Yeah, and he was like kind of the guy I wanted the Chiefs to get. Man, the Jags are kind of balling out. We didn't even look at the playoffs. Who's going to win? Let's do that real quick. Wild card weekend. Y'all tell me who's going to win. Oh. I just want the graphic. Okay, here it is. What the? Give me this graphic. Really? This is probably going to look bad. I'm on Instagram. Can I just right-click this? No, I can't because it's Instagram. All right, this is good enough. Who's winning between the Rams and the Panthers? The Rams are like 10-point favorites. I know the Panthers just won against the last time these two teams played, but Matt Stafford threw a pick six. He had a pass batted up in the end zone. That was picked off, and then he fumbled at the end of the game, strip sack, when he was in field goal range. The Rams were in field goal range. I would put quite a bit of money on the Rams winning, but that's kind of what's fun about the NFL. Single round elimination, anything can happen. You play a bad game like that, you go home. Cancun on 3. 1, 2, 3 Chiefs. Oh, yeah. 1, 2, 3 Cancun. Okay, Green Bay and Bears. Some people are saying Panthers, so maybe upset alert. I mean, Bryce Young, they got T-Mac. They have some pieces there. They've got Dowdle. Defense can kind of make you pay. I like Horn, J.C. Horn, I believe. I think he picked off Stafford at least once in that game. Okay, I have the Rams in that one. What about Green Bay and the Bears? Because I could very well see it being Green Bay, but the Bears kept it close in both games, and they ended up winning the last one in overtime. And I know Malik Willis ended up being the quarterback, but because I think that's the game Jordan Love got concussed pretty early. But man, I have the Bears in an up. I think they might slightly be favored, but it's like an upset to me because I think a lot of people are going to pick the Packers. And I don't have anything against either of these teams, so I don't really care, to be honest. But I think the Bears get it done. That's just like a gut feeling. I could very well be wrong. Could very well be wrong there. DJ Wan in the house. I believe I said that right. No, I don't know. I didn't say that right. Oh my goodness. I'm just going to call you DJ. That's a good. What are we feeling about going after T. Higgins to be our number one and going after Jeffrey Simmons to help with the interior? Well, isn't Jeffrey Simmons still under contract? He's on like a big contract. So the Chiefs aren't probably going after anybody that's going to cost draft capital because they just need it so bad. And T. Higgins just got signed too. So I think the answer, maybe not what you're wanting, but I don't think they're going after either of them because they're not going to give up draft capital and take on a big contract. Even though both of them on the team would be awesome, dude. Thank you for the 5. Okay. Beer Bay. I see a lot of people saying Bears. Bears. Some Packers. Obviously, I'm a Tom Grossi fan. Like, I think he's awesome. So would be happy for him if the Packers won, but I do have a gut feeling. I just think the Bears get it done. Obviously, we'll see what ends up happening on Saturday, but that's kind of where I'm at with it right now. Okay, let's go Bills, Jags. What are we thinking here? The Jags have won 8 straight. They're kind of red hot right now. Where are we going with this game? The Jags are at home. Home field advantage. Bills, sorry. No, I don't care. I don't have any ill will. I will say this. I made a video that I'll drop tomorrow, a short, that there's a lot of pressure on Josh Allen and the Bills, man. There's no Lamar. There's no Mahomes. There's no Burrow. None of those guys are in the playoffs. This is their year. There's a lot of pressure. Like, I don't think if they don't make it to the Super Bowl or anything, I don't know if anything crazy would happen. Maybe McDermott would be in trouble, to be honest with you, job security wise. But I think they need to, as like Josh Allen, I just think he needs to make it. I think he needs to make it to the Super Bowl and win. I don't think he's gonna, per se. Like, it's gonna be hard, especially because I just think any team from the AFC that makes it to the Super Bowl, I don't know, man. You got a couple really strong NFC teams. I have the Jags winning. Spoiler alert. I'm not going to put a lot of money down on the Jags winning. It's not because I don't want to, like, I don't really care who wins the Super Bowl. I'm not rooting for anybody. I'd prefer an NFC team so you don't have to deal with another AFC team stacking up a ring when the Chiefs never made it to the dance. But I think the Jags can pull this off. That defense is great. The Bills have flaws on defense, and the Jags are kind of flying high right now. That trade for Jacoby Myers was definitely worth it. It was definitely worth it. So I do have the Jags. Jags by a mile. Bills, I hate to say that. No, it's okay. It's just, who do you think's going to win? Yeah, if you think the Bills are going to win, no worries about that. Duval. Yeah, Duval. Steelers and Packers is such a PR Super Bowl. Nah, dude, I'm sorry. I mean, we could skip to the Monday game real quick. This is an old graphic. That's why it says Texans versus Steelers or Ravens. I do not see how the Steelers make it to the Super Bowl, dude. I don't even see how they beat the Texans. But they could. The Texans' offense has its flaws, but that defense is crazy. So that's going to be an interesting game. But I think the Texans win that game. I know we're skipping around here, and we'll get to the other two games, but since we were talking about it, I have the Rams I have the Bears. I have the Jags. And then I have the Texans. And they might, all four of those teams I just mentioned might be favored. Like I know the Rams are by a lot, but I haven't looked at the money line for anybody else. I just don't look at that stuff until like the day before. Don't really care. Or if I'm going to talk about it in a video, I will. 49ers and Eagles. I know a lot of Chiefs fans just don't like the Eagles, but I just think they're going to win. I think their defense is too good. The Eagles' defense is quite possibly the second. Like, they're just a top defense in the NFL, and the 49ers just had a lot of problems with the Seahawks defense. The Eagles are on a tear defensively. Offensively, they struggle, but here's why I think the Eagles can win. The 49ers defense is so banged up that the Eagles offense I think they'll be able to move the ball. I think they'll be able to put up enough points. The 49ers are going to struggle, and the Eagles are going to ultimately win. Now, what would I want? I think the best case scenario for the Kansas City Chiefs dynastic just run that they've been on would be for the 49ers to win the Super Bowl. Because that's the only team that you haven't lost to in the playoffs or in the big game that you've played twice. Like, you lost to the Eagles, you lost to the Bucks, but you've beat the Eagles once and the 49ers twice, right? I think that would be like the best case scenario for the Chiefs dynasty. Like, the 49ers finally are able to get in there. The Eagles don't get another ring during this span either. Stafford doesn't stack up another one, even though, like, I don't mind if they do. But I do think the Eagles are going to win. What do you guys think? 49ers, please. Eagles. I see a lot of Eagles, a lot of Texans. Bills win would be better for the dynasty's integrity. I mean, it very well could be the Bills making it to the conference championship, and it could be them in the Super Bowl. I don't know. I'm going with my gut. I think the Jags can find a way to win at home, but I would not be surprised at all if Buffalo wins. Like, not even a little bit. Because it's like, if I'm saying what quarterback could get it done out of all these guys, especially in the AFC, I mean, Josh Allen. Who else? CJ Stroud? I mean, Drake May's playing really good ball. And we haven't talked about that game. Jags and Patriots. I have the Patriots winning. Sorry, Chargers and Patriots. I have the Patriots winning. I just think they get it done. The Chargers are banged up. Patriots are at home. Herbert hasn't been great in the playoffs yet in his career, and I know that you can't just base the past off of, or the current off of past performances. But I do think the Patriots probably win, and they kind of prove that they belong. Because the Chargers are still a good team, even though they're banged up in the trenches. But I think the Patriots get that one done. Now, if you just say, hey, Cole, who do you want to win? Not who do you think is going to win? I mean, it might be some of the same picks, to be honest, but I would probably say Rams, yes. Packers. I mean, I don't think I want the Bills to win. So probably the Jags, but the Bills could very well win this game. Want out of these two teams? I said the Eagles, right? To win. That's who I think is going to win. I would prefer the 49ers. Out of these two, I'm kind of at a crossroads with this game, and hear me out. I don't want the Chargers to win anything in the playoffs, but there is something bitter or sweet to me about the Patriots just going home. And we know for sure that they're not going to get a Super Bowl, because I don't think that the Chargers are going to make it to the Super Bowl. But if I had to say want, that's like, you never want success for your division opponents, but what does it really do for the Chiefs if the Chargers win the wild card round and then get bounced in the divisional? Nothing. So that's kind of like, if I go off of once, I might want to see the Patriots go home, and then the Patriots get bounced a week later, or the Chargers rather get bounced a week later. But I think the Patriots are going to win. I'm not rooting for the success of the Chargers. I'm not rooting for the success of like any of these teams, but it's just once versus who you think's going to win. And yes, I don't want the Broncos to get anywhere. I don't want the Chargers to get anywhere, But I do think if the Chargers somehow manage to beat the Patriots in the wild card round, they're getting bounced probably the next week. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't do anything. Exactly, top notch. We need point spreads to have a real conversation? Why? I'm just saying who's going to win, not who's going to cover. Who's winning the game? Who's winning the game? And maybe you're like, well, I need that to see how much they're favored and all that stuff. But I'm just looking at it objectively, looking at the teams. You got to factor in home field advantage a little bit. Yeah, factoring in home field advantage a little bit, and then state of the rosters and how they're kind of shaping up. We do not want Eagles to win Super Bowl. No. Don't want that. Broncos could barely beat the Jets. Yeah, I mean, they barely beat everybody, but they keep winning. So I don't know what to expect. Like, we'll see what happens next. It would be in the divisional round with the Broncos, but they got the first round bye. They're chilling. And they will have home field advantage throughout the playoffs, so you have to go to Mile High Stadium. That is a tough place to play. Yeah, that's a very tough place to play. No, it's all good, top notch. All good, brother. I mean, sometimes it is helpful, like if you want to look at the money line and see what, like the Vegas odds, like what they think is going to happen. Cole, do you think we're going to trade Trent McDuffie? It's a possibility. You think it's Seahawks, Jags in the Super Bowl, Seahawks winning? That's fine. That would do nothing to hurt the Chiefs. I mean, they're already out of the playoffs, so it doesn't really matter, I guess. But I just don't want to see the Broncos or the Chargers get a ring. Like, if the Bills won, I would be happy for Josh Allen. Like, Mahomes and the Chiefs are the only reason why he doesn't have a ring. But it is kind of funny to troll around about the Bills not getting anything. 0-4 in the playoffs against the Chiefs, 0-4 in Super Bowls. I do think whoever makes it from the AFC, it really depends on who they're playing, but are probably losing. Yeah, Seahawks will be good. The Rams as well. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. You just feel like the Jags are going to go crazy in the playoffs? I mean, they really might. But here's what's always interesting about the playoffs. Everything is amplified. Everything heightens. That's why you see some players just play bad games, make bad throws, have bad drops, make mistakes, commit penalties when they haven't, like, all year long, because it does something to the mental. You know what's on the line. You know what's at stake. It is single round elimination, win or go home. And a lot of these teams haven't, not a lot, but some of these players, some of these teams, they haven't been in these bright light, big moments. Now, the Jags have been to the playoffs a few times in recent years. But that's why, like, the Chiefs, when they were in these crucial situations, deep playoff runs, well, they'd been to the AFC Championship every single year. They'd been to 5 Super Bowls in 6 years. Now, did they lose a couple of Super Bowls? Yeah, of course, they got. But they were used to it, used to the pressure, used to those kind of situations. So that's kind of the X factor in some of these games. Can these players, like, think of Sam Darnold last year. That dude was awesome all year, for the most part, until they played, the Lions right before the end of the season. And then I don't remember who they lost to in the wild card round. Maybe it was the Lions again. Let me go to, I think it was, but it might be somebody else. But Sam Darnold didn't play well at all. And he played well all season long. Yeah, they lost to the Rams. Sorry. They lost to the Rams in the 2024 wild card round, but I think they lost to the Lions, like one of the last games of the season. They lost 27-9. I mean, Sam Darnold was bad in that game. So that's a big X factor of the playoffs. Matt has to win a ring? Matt. Oh, boy. Who's Matt? Oh, Matt Stafford? Okay. Yeah. I'm like, Matt? He's got one. But yeah, seeing Stafford get another ring would be fun. Chiefs ain't in it. I'm going to head out SpongeBob style. Yeah, I mean, I'm still going to watch every single playoff game, no matter what. But yeah, it's a bummer that they're not in it, man, for sure. I'll be streaming the playoff games. We'll probably stream most of the AFC games. I think there's like 2 on Sunday and then 1 on Monday. We'll definitely stream those. Maybe 1 on Saturday night as well. Heck yeah. There's a poll. Go vote. Do you think the Chiefs trade Trent McDuffie? Oh, yeah, let me get back to that question. Wow. Do you think the Chiefs trade Trent McDuffie for more draft capital? 75% said yes. Here is a bit of a tell. If Jalen Watson signs elsewhere, I think the answer is no to trading Trent McDuffie, because I don't think you let Jalen Watson sign in free agency with another team and trade away Trent McDuffie. Not when he's on a 5th-year option for $14 million. If you re-sign Jalen Watson and then trade Trent McDuffie, I just don't think you can go into the 2026 season with your top 2 corners only, or your top corners only being Noel Williams and Christian Fulton. Like, Christian Fulton is still a bit of a question mark from like a longevity standpoint, but if you said, hey, we're trading away Trent McDuffie, we're getting a 1 and a 5 or a 2 and a 4, talking about draft picks for him, and we're going to use those in the draft to move up. I still wouldn't love the idea if you trade away McDuffie, let Jalen Watson sign elsewhere, and then you're still going to draft a cornerback early, because you don't know how that cornerback's going to pan out. And so I'm a little scared of that idea too. I think you need to bring more reinforcements in if you're going to trade McDuffie, whether that's sign, re-sign, or extend. It'd be re-sign technically, I think. Jalen Watson, I would say retain him. Just keep him on the team because he's a free agent right now, or a pending free agent. So, yeah, it's interesting. Like, I just hope if they trade Trent McDuffie away, Jalen Watson is also not signed elsewhere. That would scare me. That would scare me a little bit. Noel, Fulton, Connor Williams. Who are some of these people? Noel Williams. Joshua Williams. McDuffie to the Bucks. Keeping Watson. I would, again, if they do that, I think trading Trent McDuffie makes a lot of sense for sure. Our entire defense can blow up if Spags leaves. Blow up in the sense of like so many changes, or like Spags is going to be a detrimental loss that it's going to blow everything up. Yeah, I saw Watson's post. Addict. He was saying Watson's out. I mean, I did see Watson, among others, post like potential goodbye messages. We'll see. Maybe they think that they won't be brought back, and maybe there is something to that for sure. I mean, Jawan Taylor did as well, and he's still technically under contract, and he's never done that before, but I think he might be knowing he's on the way out. So maybe there is something to that for sure. We need a running back? Oh, yeah, for sure. Yep, I miss Justin Reed as well. I think the loss of Spags would hurt a lot more than losing any other of your coordinators. But could you have like Dave Merritt be promoted from within? Or would you just bring in another DC altogether? Because I think in an ideal world, Andy Reid doesn't really want to worry about the defense. He wants to do his thing with the offense. And like Spags like runs everything with the defense. I don't even know how much. I mean, I'm sure Andy Reid knows, but I don't think he's very hands-on with the defense in comparison to the offense. Like, he runs the ship over there, calls the plays, is deep in the game plan. Spags is doing the game plan over there. So I think he would just want a DC to be able to continue doing that even if Spags leaves. Watson and Leo are the only two I would really like to see back. Jalen Watson and Chanel. Spags needs to stop forcing guys to be something they aren't and adapt. Yeah, don't play Chamari Connor in the slot, please, and thank you. Would be awesome. Here's another thing. If you trade away Trent McDuffie, he's one of your valid slot options at times. So if you get rid of McDuffie, Jalen Watson is only an outside corner. So you might be seeing some Chamari Connor back in the slot for you, but I hope not. Well, man, it is 10:30. We've been going crazy for almost 2 hours, but I appreciate you guys. Thanks for hanging out. I know you guys won't always agree with my takes, but that's why we try to have a conversation here. Talk about every angle, what the Chiefs could do, some of my preferences, but I could also see it some other ways. At the end of the day, I'm just like you guys, man. I'm just a fan. Love to talk about the team And that's why we do a 2-hour Q&A on Tuesday night. So you just talk about every facet of the team that we could think about based on the news that we have and where they are at. It's been a disappointing end of the season, but still grateful for each and every one of you. Appreciate the mods for holding it down. Thanks for all the super chats, all the dono bombs. Member stream tomorrow night, member Zoom call tomorrow night, and I'll see you then. And we also have a long form video tomorrow night as well on HBTC and CBTH because there is a lot going on and a lot to talk about. So appreciate y'all, and until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go.
How about those